Hello and welcome. My name is Danielle. I'll be your host today as we discuss energy healing and soul medicine, a collaborative book, Healer's Directory by Rada Publishing House. Today we have a very special guest with us, Stasia Bliss. She's a contributing author in the upcoming book, Energy Healing and Soul Medicine. Welcome, Stasia. It's such a pleasure
Thank
to have
you.
you.
Thanks, Danielle. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, likewise. And I just want, before we get started into the book, I just want to let everyone know where it is you're located and what it is you currently do.
Well, currently I'm located in Arizona, but I do work with people worldwide over the net and over the phone, so I'm not limited by that. But I'm right now in the sunny bottom corner of Arizona.
Yeah, that's a beautiful part of the West Coast. I'm actually originally from California, so
Okay.
I know you have some great weather right now.
Yes, it's very nice. Lots of visitors too.
Aw, well, it's that time of year.
Yes.
Well, I'm so grateful that you had the extra time this evening to, spend with us. And Energy Healing and Soul Medicine is a very special book. It's a directory of healers that Rada Publishing House has brought together. And what it is that we are doing is, putting the word out there, letting people know what they have as an option for healing. And being that you're in the book, what inspires you to want to be in the holistic world and then dive into energy healing and soul medicine?
Sure. Well, I've been in the healing industry realm, a body of wisdom for over 20 years since my late teens. And really, I mean, it's been a long journey of beautiful discovery of all the different, I've really dabbled in a lot of different healing modalities over the years, but really like my personal story with my family and the healing that like my father is the one that kind of led us into this journey, and he was able to heal from so many things
Mm.
through just looking into different healing modalities. And then my travels took me over to India, where I studied yoga and meditation and inner alchemy, and that really like lit a fire in me, wanting to empower people with the wisdom that I was finding. Like, wow, there's a way that each one of us can heal ourselves if we understand the workings of the inner body. So it's just been, decades of me sharing this wisdom with whoever I come across and seeing people's lives change. And when, Rada and I've been working together for years. So when she came up with this book idea, I was so excited to see this sort of, guidebook available so people can find these different things without maybe having to go around the world to find them, or knowing like who really knows about this stuff, because there's definitely a lot of people out there, sharing wisdom. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so grateful that you're able to partake in this book and share your wisdom. It'll benefit a lot of people. So, with that being said, how does, the world right now that we're living in, it's very important to have healers, show themselves. How has this experience been for you? And, why do you feel it's important for humanity at this time to expose and share gifts?
well, I mean, we're definitely at a huge turning point in the world, and everybody is going through a sort of awakening and a healing crisis, if you will. Like, that's just comes along with the big changes that we're seeing. It's asking each one of us to look at ourselves and look at our relationships and look at the world and our relationship to it, and have a new relationship, figure out what we want to do next that can take us in a better direction, a more conscious direction. And so we definitely, a lot of people are looking around like, how do they do that? And so I think it is important to have some sort of directory of healers who have already established, a great pattern that has worked for them, that can assist other people that are just stepping onto the path and maybe don't know, what could help them. There's so many things out there. There's so many people that have just stepped into the healing realm, which isn't a bad thing. It's just there are some, some of us who've been doing this a really long time that can hold really powerful space for people, um, have many years of trial and error. So I think that it's awesome to have a resource that has brought these people together, and can offer to the public at this time, that it can be maybe an easier healing journey for some of them at this crunch time.
So beautifully said. I couldn't agree with you more. It's very important. So the book itself is very special because it brings so many people together. But in your particular chapter, what did you write about? Which modality? Because I know you have a lot of different modalities you could write about.
Yeah, yeah, I do. But I chose to write about relationship work because I feel like it hadn't been touched on in the book by anyone else. And Tantra and inner alchemy and relationship is such a huge topic. I feel like we really need to move toward a new relationship paradigm. And the breakdown in our society of relationships really shows, like there's so much destruction of the family and so much, such ease that so many people have in moving from relationship to relationship, sort of looking for that perfect one or pointing out all the difficulties or flaws in the ones that we have. And my work is really focused on not just the outer relationship, but that's mirrored by a relationship we have with ourselves. So the modality Tantra and inner alchemy, and really even like specifically into the yogic arts, is really like learning how to tap into a healed relationship in ourself, a relationship between our own inner masculine and feminine, which is the force of moving out into the world, but also moving inward into that inner realm, where we can access self-healing, where we can access inspiration and so forth. And so to heal that inner relationship then is mirrored in our outer relationships. So this is something that I don't think almost anybody that I talk to really understands, how that inner relationship really does reflect out. And when we're looking at our partner or someone to date, the things that maybe trigger us with them are, in my line of work, exactly what we want. That's exactly the most beautiful alchemy taking place, helping us to heal along our journey if we know how to look at it that way.
Right.
So my job is to help people have a new lens to look at their relationships, both inner and outer, so that we can elevate that in the world and heal on a bigger level.
Oh, I love that. That's so special. And it actually personally aligns to me right now. So I look forward to reading your chapter. I know there's going to be a lot of wisdom and deep, appreciation for what you do. And it's going to help humanity greatly, for the self, but for, the relationships of those around us. So,
I hope so. I have personally been on a journey of many relationships. I actually I've had so many relationships, and some might look at that like my parents and go, "Oh, is she ever going to settle down?" But for me, it has been like this, just an honor for me to meet and love like many men on my journey, many relationships on my journey, and really like sort of look at relationships from so many different angles, from the very intimate realm, which I also focus on, is intimacy healing and taking intimacy to a more sacred level. Like, how can we approach one another as God beings, really, as
right,
sacred relationship, and what happens when we interact in that space, and how can we take that to the next level so it isn't just a physical experience, it's actually a transcendental portal that we can enter together. And how do we get to the mindset where we could even manifest that sort of a union? Like, how can we get through and love each other through the wounds and traumas that inevitably we all have at this point, in the world? We all are coming with our bag of wounds and scars. And I really don't think it's about waiting till we don't have any of those to get in a relationship. That's almost like an impossible prospect. But instead, like, how do we honor one another's path as we meet up with each other, as we cross in this point on the net of humanity, and really like see the process of awakening and honor that we're each having collectively. And that relationships really, in the words of one of my mentors, Lisa Kay, which is a woman that I've integrated some of her work deeply, and that is, she always says relationship is a self-realization journey. Like, that's what it is. Like, we're here to help each other self-realize, and it really isn't about like just someone loving you and like taking care of you or whatever. It's an honoring of one another's awakening journey.
Oh, so beautiful. That sounds like poetry to my ears. I
It
know.
can be like
Yeah,
really, really can be when we look at it that way and we don't expect, hey, this person's supposed to serve me and make me happy and
right.
everything. Instead, like the hard times or the heartbreaking, difficult moments those are the catalysts for the inner alchemy. Like those are
Mhm.
the things that actually shape us and allow our true spiritual essence to come forth. And without those sort of friction moments, we actually aren't growing. We're sort of like staying in one plane of existence. And I know a lot of people like they fear getting into sort of a riff with their partner or bringing up things that might cause an argument. But, like really learning to look at those argument moments or potential, rough moments as the fire, like the fire in the alchemy that is allowing something to burn off or transform or, elevate, that we can start to look forward to. Oh, here comes another alchemical moment, instead of, oh, I don't want to like rock the boat or whatever. Like just have new languaging about what relationship is really about. And it brings a new excitement, a new level, a new challenge, to that.
Oh, I love it. What can you give me an example of what someone might have experienced with one of your sessions, and how that helped them
Yeah, yeah,
transform?
absolutely. I often meet with couples. Sometimes one of the partners doesn't want to come at first, but I often do meet with couples, and the man is generally the skeptical one when he comes in. But the practices that I have couples do together are very out of the or they're not mental exercises. They're really like teaching people how to communicate energetically with your breath, like feeling the other person's body and the energy between you, learning how to direct energy, in your own body and then between two people. And what happens is it begins to soften the barriers, and actually it softens where there might be disagreements
Mm.
when you start to really like see your partner as this other breathing, living human being who feels just like you when you get quiet, breathes just like you, like gazes just like you at the world, has hips and legs. These seem like silly things, but we often like get into this place where we think the other person's just like a mental attitude or a belief structure or their past. But when we can sit with one another, I see couples all the time, they come back and they say, wow, like I had no idea that we could get past all that stuff in just one session. But reconnecting at a level of breath and touch and gaze, like we immediately like found ourselves falling back in love. Like I hear people
Oh,
all the time just say, in one session we just like rekindled something. Like we need to learn this way of communicating, this way of breathing together and moving together. So all the time I see that, and just that just makes me so like grateful and happy to, I just think that heals the whole wide world when even just one couple gets like reconnected and is able to see through, the mental miscommunications that often happen.
right. And it's so beautiful when that love comes together because it's so healing and it's like magnified. And it even like, when people say, whoa, what's my purpose? And it's like, we have many purposes, but even that in itself is such a magnitude of a purpose. I
Yeah,
mean, wow, yeah, that's beautiful. I
yeah,
love
just
it.
love.
Aw,
And then even like a lot of parent-child relationships can really be healed through these sorts of techniques too. I've sat a lot with mothers and daughters who don't get along, and the daughter's bringing the mother like, my mother, blah, blah, blah. And then mother, my daughter, da, da, da. They have this like, inability to really like reach each other because they have a generational rift. And to sit with them and have them begin to observe each other differently, or see how one is bringing up stuff for the other to love about themselves and heal, like the perspective change that happens between people when they just get a different view at things. Suddenly, like, wow, we really like love each other. We're so happy that we are alive and can, it's just like a rebirthing of that relationship without, gosh, society teaches us to pull so many mental constructs into the relationship. And like, I swear reality wants us to fight with each other. Just, like all of the things that are going on is like a mental war. And so the Tantra in the inner alchemy is really like bring it back to the energetics, bring it back to like the body and the who these people are, like what is the beautiful thing happening here? Like what is the real beauty in the
Oh,
relationship?
that's so beautiful. I cannot wait to read your chapter. So during the process of writing your chapter, how did you feel with Rada Publishing House? Did you feel supported, and what was your overall experience?
Radha is an amazing woman. Like Radha is just, to me, she is a goddess incarnate. And
Yeah.
her and her mother and those they brought together for this publishing house. It's unlike, and I've published with other publishing companies. It's unlike anything out there,
Mhm.
really, like that they're offering the sort of healing and support and emotional feedback support that authors really need when they're trying to express their truth and their story. And yeah, this is the second time that I published with them, and I love them, and I would recommend publishing with them, and I do, to many people, because it's just a whole nother level of publishing.
That's wonderful. I'm so grateful you've had such an amazing experience with them. And it goes to show too, I mean, you're obviously a very, beautiful woman that has a plethora of wisdom and knowledge that is going to bring this to, humanity. So I encourage everyone to get in contact with her in case you might want a one-on-one. And but what we'll do is we'll be sure to link all your information down below so they can contact you, and of course, all the information for Rada Publishing House and the book for when it gets released. So
Wonderful.
thank you so
Thank you,
much for your
Danielle.
time, and I greatly look forward to reading your chapter.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. It was an honor to be with you today.
Thank you.